Weight just keeps going up. 280. We're gonna max out this pulley today, aren't we? Good morning. Welcome back. Beautiful leg day ahead of us today. It's cool and cold outside, and it's gonna turn into a rainy mess over the next couple of days. But at the moment, it's like a good old 11 or 12 degrees outside. So that means in the gym here, pretty darn cold, as you can tell by the sound of this heater. We are warming it up the best we can and got a couple layers on to help us stay warm. Staying warm, though, is not usually a problem on leg day. We get pretty warm pretty quickly with these exercises. So we're going to be starting off in the traditional manner here with some hamstring curls. Looking forward to that. And I'm really looking forward to getting to our main exercise, which is going to be our belt squats. We did make some improvements to the platform that I'll talk about when I actually get the thing out. But I was able to extend that slot out a bit finally and get it so that it's a bit more in the middle of that platform, so I'm not standing basically right on the edge of that thing. Pretty pumped to be able to do those again, get back over here, move some weight, some heavy weight, especially now that we're feeling, back to a healthy state and not a still somewhat recovering state like we were when we last did these, and we perhaps pushed it a bit too far. So there's no sense in dilly-dallying. There's no sense in waiting around. It's not going to get any warmer in here. We're going to get set up and go right into our hamstring curls here, start doing some of those for warm-up before we move over to cable hip adductions and the rest of our workout. So I'll see you there. Been asked a lot before about why I like to do these hamstring curls first, why we're always doing them first and love doing them first so much, and really, what we're trying to accomplish by doing these. It's a couple things, really. Number one, we need that hamstring work. We're trying to get that hamstring work in, period, no matter what we're doing. So it doesn't really matter if we do it first or last, but oftentimes we'll end up doing accessory work after our main movers. And that's a really fair point. By doing these first, and this is technically accessory work, right? Because we're isolating one single group of muscles before we actually get to that main lift. So by doing that, we're going to end up pre-exhausting these muscles a bit, which might take away working capacity from whatever that main lift exercise is going to be. In this sense, though, I think it really warrants it for a couple reasons. Number one, in pure bodybuilding training, we're not really going for overall strength, and we're not going for overall weight lifted with the exercises we're doing. You're going to get strong if you're getting big. You can't be big without being strong, and vice versa. So even as we continue to grow and get bigger from a bodybuilding standpoint, we're going to continue to grow that strength, but that's not necessarily the main metric that we're focused on every single lift. It's a byproduct. It's a really fun byproduct too, and a really cool one, because who doesn't like lifting big numbers? But by doing these first, yes, we're going to pre-exhaust the hamstrings a little bit. We're also going to warm everything up, though. We're going to really get everything moving in this posterior chain. And what I have found is that on these leg days, people have a very difficult time actually warming up their hamstrings, their lower back, really their posterior chain as a whole. So doing these hamstring curls first allows us to kind of start exercising and working that hamstring and lower back area, but also warm it up adequately so that when we get to that main mover, we're nice and we're ready to go. The machine is ready for that work that we're about to ask it to do. So this is just a really good way to get an active stretch in, an active warm-up in for our main movement that's going to be coming up here in a little bit without overdoing it, without overtaxing it. We're going to take this really close to failure here, but we're not going to work the entire body like we will generally on our main movers on our leg days. That's going to be your squat, your deadlift. Those are the two probably most taxing exercises you can do in a gym because of how much it requires your whole body to be working in unison. So this just isolates one single group of muscles, a smaller area, so to speak. Still a very large muscle group, though, when compared to the rest of the muscles on your body. So it is a lot of work. It is a lot of effort. But by doing these first, we're going to warm everything up.
We're going to get it in a really good spot so that when we get to that main movement for us today, it's going to be the belt squat. We're going to be nice and safe, warmed up, and ready to go, and we're not going to risk injury. Speaking of warm up, let's do our first set here. Yeah, very good. Number 2. Let's repeat that speed and control. That was really good on the last set. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, final set here. Let's see what kind of damage we can do. Come on. Okay. Oh, man. All right, that last one was basically just extra credit, but man, whew, that was good. Really good. All right, let's get these plates put away and do some hip adductions, huh? Haven't done those in a week or two because we were sick. Let's do some of these, huh? Been a hot minute since we did these because we were sick, but I'm excited to do them again. I really enjoy doing these hip adductions with the cable machine here. It's a really nice exercise. Whew. It's some pretty exciting stuff happening lately. Yesterday, Austin and I sat down and actually modeled out, but basically just sketched out roughly how equipment would and could fit into a space that we really like, and hopefully it works out for opening this gym up. It's really exciting. Nothing's guaranteed yet. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to the space for this to work the way we want it to. But if that can happen, and it happens the way we have been told it will, told it could, I suppose, we might know where our gym's going to be, which is, I don't know if you can tell by the smile, but just like so exciting to realize. Right now, though, we got a leg day to finish and some hip adductions to do. I think a lot of people would hesitate to even share news on something like this when it's not guaranteed yet. It's not set in stone. I hope, though, I hope we can kind of speak it into existence a little bit, though. There's a couple things that have to line up perfectly for this space to work with regards to these renovations. But if they happen, guys, this could be the perfect spot to launch this dream I've had for over a decade now. And I couldn't be more excited about it for all the things that this space has going for it, this location has going for it, and what being able to finally open up this community to you all, to the world, could bring to this local community and to the broader community here watching this. It's so exciting. All right, one more set of these, and then we've got belt squats. Ooh! Gosh, this got tough. Wow. Wow, that was really good. That, man, it's kind of like for half a second there I lost focus, and then like literally for like one rep, and then I came back into it, and my leg was just like, bro, there's something going on over here. You should be paying attention to this. Whew, whew, whew. All right, here we are. 230 pounds on the belt here. Got a couple changes this week. So you may have noticed I did get a different hook for this. Doing these again reminded me how much I didn't like this style of a latch here. It's a very weak but and flimsy, thin little spring closed mechanism here, like a carabiner, which is fine, but I honestly felt like it got in the way more often than it helped anything. And on this cable in particular, there's no way. I tried removing it. There doesn't seem to be a way to remove it. So rather than get a whole new chain, because again, these chains are perfectly fine. I believe they were rated for well over a ton when I put the image up last time. These chains are more than sufficient for what we need. I just bought a D-ring shackle and an actual hook, like for a mini crane, basically. The hook, I believe, is rated for a ton as well, or more. There were a couple different versions, like a 4-ton version. I don't know if one that big. But I had to get a D-ring for it as well to fit on here, because otherwise it wouldn't stay put. Now, I'd like to get a slightly smaller D-ring so I can bring this up a little bit higher. Right now it's really low, which is actually good for one thing, which is that if I fail and I can't get this weight up, I can connect this literally all the way at the bottom down here, which is probably where it should be anyway from a safety standpoint. But it would be great to be able to rack in, a little bit higher than literally on the ground right here. Other than that, we have extended the slot out to be right in line actually with where the hold downs are for the rack right here. And just through a warm up right here, you may have seen, it feels so much more stable and comfortable. Stable is not the right word. This platform always felt very stable. I didn't like though how I had to be essentially toes over the edge of this platform where I needed to be to use this setup. Now I'm squarely back here, squarely in the middle of the platform, and I feel just a lot more stable. It's all mental, but I feel a lot more stable, and I can actually get over the weight versus being slightly, behind it or whatever, where my knees are going to be pulled and traction forward. So this is what we're starting with this week, 230 pounds. We did this last week when we weren't feeling very well, so I got a feeling we're going to be able to smash this weight no problem. Fingers crossed. You know how it goes when you say things like that out loud. But if I can do this 230, we're going to bump it up. I did make sure, once again, what the weight limit is on this cable pull. It's 300 pounds, so we're well under that limit still at this point, but I wonder how long we're going to be under that limit and what we're going to do once we actually get to that limit. I don't know the answer to. Hopefully by then, though, we have an actual professional gym or we have a real belt squat that can support, 1,000 pounds plus. All right, let's get hooked in here and let's squat some heavy-ass weight, huh? All right. Much easier to get that hook on there. I like that. Now I just need to rig up maybe another set of carabiners here, one for safety and one for actually hooking into versus trying to hook into the same carabiner. It's kind of a pain. That was easy. We're going up like a lot. That felt way too easy. So yeah, we're going to reconfigure this. We're going to go up to at least 250 here. All right, we bumped it up. What are we at? 260 now? So we're going up 30 pounds. Whew, let's hit it. Yeah. Whew. Weight just keeps going up. 280. We're gonna max out this pulley today, aren't we? What the heck can I do to make this thing stronger? Somebody knows. Let me know in the comments. I'm sure it's the cable itself, but I don't know how it could take stronger cable here. Whew. Fourth and final set here. I could up the weight. We're at 280 right now. I could up the weight. I know I could do more than this. But I think what I'm going to do instead is just get as slow as possible on the descent here. Doing that should add a lot of extra work volume without having to add any weight. And I'd rather not rush through these anyway. So let's be mindful here. Let's get strapped in and really just control this weight and not let it control us and pull us to the ground as quick as it wants to. Let's fight it. We'll take that. That was really good. Really nice. So next week, we'll start right here at 280. And we're going to take these as controlled as possible, every single set. That's going to do it. All right. Get this cleaned up and destroy our legs here on the leg extensions. Okay. Get strapped in here. We're going to do some real good leg extensions. These are going to be tough. Ugh, and good. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, very nice. So those belt squats were fantastic. I'm overall very, very, very pleased with that setup. This platform, sitting right behind me now, is version 1. Once it's actually warm out again, I'm going to make version 2, which will be a little bit sturdier here. And I need to wait till it's warm just because it's just way too darn cold. And I don't want to do all that wood cutting here in the gym. It'll just make a mess. I'd rather do it out on the driveway where I can kind of just blow it away. So once it's just a little bit warmer, we don't need a ton. 40 degrees honestly would be fine. We could deal with that. And it may be that way here in the very near future, so we shouldn't have to wait too long. I want to stiffen this up though, because when we made the changes and the updates that we did last week, we ended up having to cut some of that cross bracing that was keeping it rigid. And that cross bracing was, because of where the pulley was, just a few inches from the front of the platform itself. It was very good at not flexing the whole platform. Now though, with the hole deeper, right? With the hole being deeper so that the pulley can sit further back into this hole, the front wants to flex. And I was seeing it today, especially where that was being pulled. There was flexion in that board, just a little bit, right? Cause for concern. It wasn't making any noises, but it was cause for concern. So when I stiffen this board up, I'll be able to use continuous pieces of 2x4 that will give it the rigidity it needs and not allow it to flex nearly as much. It should really, really, really be quite solid once we get it all put together, because what I'll be able to do is essentially cut channels through that 2x4, 3/4 inch holes at most, actually probably not even 1/2 inch holes, for where the cable itself will travel through. And then that way we can keep that 2x4 complete. We don't have to cut it up to allow the cable to travel through. And it should be a lot more stable and a lot less flexible of a platform and a bit more future-proof than what we've got with this one. Okay, set 2. Let's do it. Now, aside from that, that setup was perfect. We even moved it back on the horizontals here. We moved it back to that 11th hole, like I had been speaking about. I think I said 12th hole, though. But we had it on the 11th horizontal hole here to hold it in place. So cable felt perfect. The length was perfect. I actually liked it on the 11th. It was just at the right length for me to reach those handles by Mutant Metals, which I use for a lot of things these days. But they're really, really, really good belt squat handles. And when you're too close, I find that it's really easy to kind of use your upper body to kind of push yourself up. But with where they're at, my arms have to be basically completely extended, just shy of that. And it's really, it is literally just there to help me balance. And that's what it should be for. But because I can't kind of get under it, they're truly there just to help me balance. It's a perfect little setup. And it takes time to find that stuff in the home gym. But once you find it, man, you write that stuff down, and that's your setup. That's where you put it. Set number 3. Now, other than those small little changes, I love the setup. I really do. Like I said, I want to get some slightly smaller D-rings so I can move that shackle on the safety chain up just a little bit higher. I found that in practice, It was difficult to get out of it, which is better than getting into it, that's for sure. It was difficult to get out, though, once you were ready to unhook the belt from the cable. Is that bad? No. It's definitely better than not being able to get the safety on there easily. But if I could buy a cheap $3 D-ring that'll fit that and make that easier, let's do it. And it'll still be just as safe. Okay, fourth and final set here. Whew, boy, these things are screaming, man. Screaming. All right, here we go. Couple more. Come on. No, that's it. Oh boy. Oh, all right. Quads destroyed. We've got one more thing to do. That's calf raises. I'm going to do that while I clean up a bit around here. So this is where I bid you farewell. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in for leg day. Hope you've got a good leg day ahead of you. If anyone has any suggestions on how to make that belt squat better, safer, easier, whatever, I'm open to it. Throw it down in the comments. I'd really love to figure out if it's possible to increase the weight capacity of that rack-mounted pulley. I would imagine it's the cable itself that's the weak point. I could be wrong about that, though. Who knows? But I'm going to try to do some research on it, see if I can find anything out there. I might not be able to increase it, and that's okay. As we found out, 280 pounds was very good, especially when we slow it down a bit. So that might be the secret here. That might be what we need to do. Max out the pulley, but just take it really slow. Really slow. Alrighty, y'all. I'll see you next time. Hope you have some good workouts ahead of you. Take it easy.